Hello. Today, Mansion interviews Mónica Stocker from el blog para Aprender Inglés and epay.com. This is an unusual interview. Actually, it's not really an interview. You're going to listen to Mónica and I just chatting and having a conversation. I always have a list of questions to ask my guests, but although I had never spoken to Mónica before, as soon as we connected on Skype, we started chatting. And after about half an hour, Mónica said, "Are you recording this?" Luckily, I was recording, but I was enjoying the conversation so much that I completely forgot I was doing an interview, and that's never happened to me before. Before you listen to us, remember that there are comprehension questions for you to answer as you're listening, and there are translations of some of the more difficult vocabulary at inglespodcast.com/Mónica. That's inglespodcast.com/Mónica. So, Mónica has a YouTube channel at Mónica Stocker on YouTube, where you can find some excellent videos to help you improve your English. But Mónica stopped making videos a couple of years ago and has just recently started making them again. I asked her why she stopped.
First, I thought my videos were awful. And I thought, well, I make mistakes. It's terrible. I don't have any technique. And then one day I went to look and I had 7,000 subscribers. And I thought, 7,000 subscribers? I didn't do anything for 4 years.
I really like the videos you're making at the moment. They're very short, they're very concise and targeted. They're really to the point. And I really like the way you're presenting them.
Yeah, but this is different because then I studied, I rehearsed. I was like for a year trying to learn how to make videos on my own with an iPhone. But before I just did it with the camera, with the computer camera, the webcam. And I didn't do anything. I just was talking there. But in the second set of videos is much more professional because I studied. And I wanted to look more professional, and I decided to continue with it because of the amount of people. Well, 7,000 subscribers is nothing for some other people who are top on the internet, but consider that I didn't do anything for 4 years and I didn't even care about it. So I thought, well, 7,000 people are some people, no? So
I was looking at them this morning, actually, and I went back to your very first video, and I thought it was excellent. The one where you're speaking in the garden about how to improve your listening.
Oh, yeah.
And I posted it on our Facebook page because I really like the things you said.
Yeah. Thank you. But this was like improvising. But everything happened to me like that. It was just like a hobby also. It was like a hobby. And then people started asking me for classes. It was just like a hobby, and people started asking me for classes. And I said, what do I do? I mean, I didn't dare because I was teaching for academies, and I thought maybe I'm going to lose all the people, all the academies. If I start working on my own, maybe I have a couple of students and then they leave and I have no more money anymore. I was very afraid. And then one day I realized I had a list of 8 people or 10 people waiting because I said, no, I cannot teach now. It's just, I put you on a waiting list.
Were these people that wanted lessons with you over Skype or locally, one-to-one?
Over Skype because I have the blog. And
right.
I thought, well, maybe this is something. And I asked my husband, because my husband is also an English teacher. He's my partner. He said, oh, come on, do it. Just don't be afraid. He was pushing me, said, just start teaching you and just leave your other jobs and academies. And then that's how it started. And then suddenly I had so many students that I couldn't handle them myself. And I said, I have to hire teachers. And should I do this? Well, I was very doubtful because I thought this is going to be a lot of trouble. You have to look for the teachers. You have to, teachers, when you hire people, they don't work like you work. So you have to trust them, or you have to recruit them and know exactly what you're doing and when you make mistakes and all that. But, well,
When did this happen, Monica? Which year did this
it
this all
happened
take off?
in 2009, I think it was. Yeah, more or less 2009. I was doing some classes online, and then I was also teaching in companies. And then I decided just to stop with the companies and everything, 2009. And I created
And that's
website of EPI. This is the Blog para Aprender Inglés, the acronym. But
so EPI is the is an online English academy. Is that
yes,
right?
yeah. That we started. We started when we saw that we had so many students that wanted classes.
Anyone listening to this interview who wants to study English online would go to EPI, and then you would connect them with a teacher. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
This,
Hmm.
we have now. We're just redesigning our site because it was getting too old, and I think it looks much better now. Because we started in 2009. I think I made myself this website, and now we have somebody, a designer who's doing, a developer also.
And what kind of teaching do you do on EPI? Is it general English for adults, or does it include children,
no,
business English?
mostly adults. Sometimes we had children, teenagers, but it's mostly business English, Cambridge exams, all kinds of exams, AOE. So basically, is to improve your speaking. Well, we have a team of people that teaches over Skype. Also, my husband, and I have another partner. He's Roberto Reboredo. So also an English teacher. He's great. He coordinates everything. He's fantastic. We try to be very professional with the academy. We try to give very good teachers. We have very good teachers, actually.
Okay, well, I'll make sure there's a link in the show notes for the site, and we'll send people over there if they're interested in taking lessons with you. There's one thing I'd like to ask you, Monica, going back to before you started teaching. What were you doing before that? What brought you into teaching? Is it right that you studied law?
Yeah.
So how did you make the change from? Did you actually work as a lawyer?
Yes, I was, and I am a company lawyer. I was working for a company I think it was for about 14 years, and then I was made redundant. And that was the year 2001. And then I was 40 then, and I thought, my God, what am I going to do now? I had, my son was very small. He was about, how old was he? 3, I think, 3 or 4. And I didn't know what to do. And then I said, my husband, who is an English teacher, he said, why don't you teach English? And I thought, oh, this is a good idea. And this is how I started. So I started again a professional career in my 40s. So I was.
So you had to retrain. You had to train to be a teacher.
Yes, I did this TEFL course in Madrid, and after that, I started teaching in companies. Basically, I also had my own private students, and then that's why I started the blog, because I had, in one company, I had a group of students who they were in their 40s, and it was almost impossible for them to learn English. And I thought, what can I do to help them? Because they cannot understand the books, the grammar, the syllabus, these textbooks in English. They couldn't read them because their level was so low, they couldn't understand the explanations. And then I said, well, I could write something on the internet maybe, and then I can share it. And that's how I started. I started with one class, one lesson, and I was very surprised because I thought, why are there so many people coming? This was the year 2005.
But why did you think of putting this material on the internet, on a blog? Why not just give them a handout on a piece of paper?
Because these people had connection to the internet, and it was easier, no? Everybody could look. I thought, well, and then I have it. If I go to another company, we can share it, and this is how it started. So and also I had been blogging before. That was honestly, I knew, because one time I remember I was reading this newspaper. I was in the street and I was reading the newspaper, and they talked. That was the year 2003, I think. They talked about blogs in one article, and I thought, what is this? It's interesting. And then I started blogging, and I started to interact with other people. But what I did then was just to write stories in Spanish. I wrote stories in Spanish. I met some people.
Stories that you invented?
Yes, tales. I don't know. I had always liked it to write. And then suddenly I thought, I can use this blog as a tool for teaching English. It occurred to me at that moment because I was doing the other thing and I was not successful at all. Nobody read my stories. So I decided to start these lessons online, and lesson 1, lesson 2 in Spanish, because they couldn't understand English. And then suddenly I see that there were so many people looking at it, and I thought, this is strange. It seems like people like them. And then one day I got an email from somebody from the newspaper El País, and I thought it was a joke. I thought, who the hell is writing to me? They want to interview me. This was August 2006, I think it was. And I thought this is a joke. And I wrote back and said, is this a joke? I said, no. And no, I remember she left her phone number. This journalist, she put the phone number in the email. So I called her and said, is this a joke? She said, no, this is El País. I thought, but why do you want to interview me? I said, because you have a blog. And he said, well, what is so special about my blog? Because you're teaching English. And I thought, and then El País, this was in the summer, in August, they posted an article about me. And then it was incredible. The next day, I had like 6,000 readers, no? But at the beginning, because I never thought it was going to be something successful. So I thought, why? I don't need to spend any money. I didn't think to, because I thought it was a hobby or something like that. So after that article, then I started to get more popular. And it was just like a coincidence. I don't know.
What is Inglés para Torpes? That's your book that you wrote. Can you talk a bit about what it is exactly? Is it a course book, an exercise book? What kind of level is it for?
Yeah, it's kind of a course book. I was contacted by Anaya because of the blog, of course, and they asked me to write a book, and I decided they had this series of para torpes, like for dummies. It's very similar to that.
Okay. So it's the Spanish version of the For Dummies series.
Yes, exactly. And they said to me, "Can you write something for us?" And I said, "Okay, I'll try it." And then I thought, well, this is very appropriate for the blog, because the blog started as a tool for beginners, absolute beginners, people who have no idea about English. So Inglés para Torpes is a little bit that. It's a technique, it's a method I use for teaching beginners.
Is there any audio that goes along with it?
Yes, it comes with an audio. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And where can people find that?
Only online, Amazon and Fnac. There's 2 websites. If you put the name Inglés Torpes, you're going to find it. You cannot. Well, sometimes I think I've seen it. In the shops, but because it's already some years that I wrote that book, I don't remember. I suppose it's like 3 years now.
I'll make sure there's a link on the blog post so that people can find it. How did you feel, Monica, when it got published?
Oh, it was a great feeling. It was a great feeling because finally I'm an author because I was writing stories in Spanish and nobody paid attention to me. And then for the first time, I have a book, And a lot of people had told me, why don't you write a book? But I never had time. But when Anaya called me, I thought, this is incredible. And they call me. I don't have to call them. This is what the internet gives you. That is now it's the opposite. You get the phone calls. You don't have to call.
So you've written a book. You've founded the online English Academy that sprang from the blog. What goals and looking forward? What goals and ambitions do you have for teaching online in general? Are you thinking of going more into video? Or maybe?
Yes. I have some surprises.
Can you talk about them?
Not really, because I think it's not good to talk about them yet.
Okay, that's a tease.
Yeah, okay. But we are prepared. I'm always preparing something. I'm very active.
Have you thought about podcasting?
No, because I don't like my accent. I like British accents. So no, your accent is perfect for podcasting.
And yours is fantastic too for someone who was born in Spain. It's incredible. You hardly have an accent.
I know I do have I have a mixture of accents that are it's horrible. It's I try to sound American, but I cannot. And I don't know. I'm always mixing accents because of the students. Also, I get this influence. This hard Spanish accent. And then my husband is Dutch, so we speak Dutch, Spanish, and English at home. 3 languages. Wow. So you can imagine that I confuse things.
So your children are trilingual as well?
Yes.
Yeah, 3 languages.
Yeah, well, I can understand Dutch, but I usually don't speak it because I get it confused with English. It's sometimes it's very similar. They're very similar expressions. But
when you were learning English,
yes,
were your teachers British English or native Spanish speakers teaching you English, or were they American?
No, most of them were British, and some of them were Americans, and also some Spanish that have a very high level of English. Sometimes people ask for a Spanish speaker, for example, for absolute beginners. You need to have somebody who speaks Spanish. Many of them speak Spanish. Many of even the British teachers,
right?
Because they have lived in Spain for a long time.
I'd like to put you in the quick fire hot seat, Monica, and ask you a few quick questions to finish up here. But so you could be as brief or as detailed as you like in your answer.
Okay.
What's the best thing for you about being a teacher?
To help people. I love to help people. In fact, I wanted to start a blog, like just to help people. Tell me your problems.
What's the worst thing for you?
There's nothing bad about teaching. At least probably my answer would be very different if I were a school teacher. But in this job, this is great because students choose me, but I choose them too. So I don't think there's anything bad about teaching, really. It's a very good experience.
If you were not a teacher, which profession would you choose?
Okay, I already told you that I am a lawyer. And I also would like to be an artisan.
An artisan?
Yes. A craft person. I'm very much a craft person. I like to do things with my hands.
What would you make?
I paint. I like this papier-mâché. I'm always doing things with my hands. But you don't earn any money from that.
That's true.
So I would say when I retire, I'm going to start, but maybe it's going to be too late.
It's a hobby.
Yes, hobby. Yes, a hobby.
What advice would you give? What one piece of advice would you give Spanish speakers who are trying to learn English?
Oh, I always say it. Listen to English. That's the most important part of the learning experience. Do not read grammar books. Grammar books are important, but later, not at the beginning.
Yeah, a lot of Spanish are usually quite good at grammar and vocabulary, but when it comes to speaking, it's the listening comprehension, maybe the pronunciation as well, that holds them back.
Yeah, but that's because the method is wrong.
Monica, what one thing, if you were to tell someone about yourself, would they find it difficult to believe?
Oh, that I started my professional career second time when I was in my 40s. That's I think it's difficult to believe, because a lot of people say when they turn 40, they think they're too old and they cannot do anything. No? And, well, I always say, no, it is possible. Look at me. I started again.
Exactly. It's very encouraging in the financial crisis that's upon us now at the moment in Spain, when people are having to make that choice and having to change careers and look for income in other places. Then you are the perfect example of someone who has done it, and you're an example to people who are in that position at the moment. What can I do? How can I make a change to support my family? So it's fantastic.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. And I think there are lots of opportunities there, but on the internet, but you need to work very hard. That's the problem.
Which famous person would you like to have dinner with?
Nelson Mandela.
Why?
For sure, because I don't know, I have a big admiration for him, because he was in prison. He was in jail for 31 years, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember. But a lot of years. And I think that is very, very tough. And he was able also to start again and to fight so many things and so many prejudices.
He was an incredible person.
It was an incredible person. So I think he's dead now, but I think I would be delighted to have lunch with him or dinner.
Well, I want to be respectful of your time, so I think we'll end there, Monica. Before we go, could you tell listeners where to go to find you on the internet?
Would you just type El Blog para Aprender Inglés? Okay, and if you want lessons, you can type the Academy. The name of the Academy is an acronym of the Blog para Aprender Inglés. That is EBPAI. EBPAI. Okay.
El Blog para Aprender Inglés, yes. The initials, the acronym.
Initials,
yeah.
Yes.
And your videos on YouTube is your channel, Mónica Stocker?
I think it's Mónica Stocker.
Well, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, it's been a pleasure too. Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Monica, for speaking to me. It was really a lot of fun. And thank you for listening. If you haven't seen Monica's blog, El Blog para Aprender Inglés, you really must go and have a look at it. There's so much material and help and support for Spanish speakers who are learning English. It's one of the best resources on the internet for Spanish people like you who are studying English. El Blog para Aprender Inglés. And if you want to have English lessons online over the internet, go to Monica's online academy at ebpai.com, ebpai.com. You can find more podcasts to improve your English at inglespodcast.com, and you can study English free at mentioningles.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, please go to iTunes and give us some stars and maybe a short review so that more people can find our podcasts. Please show us some iTunes love.